So if you're watching this video, I'm going to presume that you probably were searching back pain or herniated discs, um, acute pain, chronic pain. Uh, that leads me to infer you are in fact in a lot of pain. And back pain, nerve pain from back pain, herniated discs are excruciating. Man, I feel your pain. And when I say I feel your pain, I mean it literally. So some of you may know this already, and some of you may be just coming to learn it in this video. I sustained a really significant back injury in 2021. I took a really bad fall and I fractured my spine at the L3 vertebrae, actually. And in fracturing my spine, I had no idea that I had actually done that. All I knew is just so much pain, right? My back just felt so tight. I was in so much pain for months. And I'm thinking like, oh, I must just be really stressed. I must be so out of alignment. And I'm like doing these crazy stretches and getting deep tissue massages. I'm doing all the wrong things. And I'm gonna get to that in a big way in a couple of minutes. So I keep doing all the wrong things for several months without ever knowing that I had a fractured spine. And in doing all the wrong things, one night I go for another incredibly aggressive stretch session because I'm like, I just got to open up my psoas and open up my low back. And I twist aggressively and I herniated 3 discs in my lumbar spine, just your lower back. And I have never in my life felt a pain that intense to the point that I dropped to the ground, couldn't get off the floor. My fiance had to rush me to the emergency room here in Miami in the middle of the night because I was in so much pain I couldn't sleep, right? So then I herniated the 3 discs and it felt like I got shot in the base of my spine. So she rushes me to the hospital. They don't know what's going on. They're giving me all kinds of painkillers. Nothing is cutting through the pain. They give me a CT scan where they can see that I have a pinched nerve, but they didn't order an MRI because they're not specialists. It's an emergency room, right? So they say, oh, you need to see an orthopedic surgeon. They offer me a morphine drip. And I was in so much pain that if I wasn't afraid of needles, I would have taken it. And for the first time in my life, if any of those painkillers had worked, like I'm the girl that won't take Advil because I don't want to mess up my microbiome or compromise any of my recovery from my workouts. Like I won't touch non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, let alone Percocet and Oxys and morphine drips. The pain was so tremendous that nothing cut it. Not the massive dose of muscle relaxers, not the Percocets, nothing cut through the pain. So now I still don't really know what's wrong other than like, oh, there's a narrowing at the nerve root, right? I can't get off the floor for weeks. In truth, I couldn't stand up for a month. I couldn't stand. I couldn't sleep. The pain was so extraordinary, I thought my life was over. Literally, I crawled everywhere around the house. And I was so scared. And you're thinking, well, wait a second, right? Like you're Jillian Michaels. You're supposed to know this stuff. I did not appreciate how extraordinary the agony, how scary the circumstance, and how difficult, here's what's even scarier, how difficult it was to get medical attention. So here in Florida, I would call pain facilities and they're like, how long have you been in pain? I'd say 9 days. And they'd say, call back in 6 months, which is so wildly irresponsible and dangerous, which is a completely different issue. I couldn't get in with a doctor for months because everybody was overbooked here. So fortunately, a friend of mine called the head of orthopedic surgery at HSS in New York. He got on the phone with me. He got me an MRI and he told me what was going on. And then I got in touch with this guy, Dr. Stuart McGill, who is the best in the world at helping people rehabilitate back injuries, spine injuries in particular, right? But before I got there, right now I'm living in agony. And I mean the craziest, most insane pain. Like I would just cry for fear because the pain was worse at night, and literally just sit in a ball and sob, anticipating the kind of pain. So you might be wondering, why is she telling me this? Well, one, I'm telling you because I know everything you're feeling. I know the fear, and I know the pain, and I know the helplessness that you're going through. And I want to give you coping mechanisms. I know what it means to do all the wrong things and make it worse. And if I can do that, that means anybody's doing that. So I want to address that first. The first thing I want to address, if you're injured, if you have pain, if you have acute pain, right, which means horrendous pain right after an injury, or you have chronic pain, ongoing pain, I do not want you actually Googling this stuff on YouTube. There is the worst advice on here. The worst advice. And you might find it from the most credible sources, thinking it's great advice. But you can be making your injury so much worse because you don't know what the injury is. You don't know. Everybody's herniation, everybody's injury is unique. It happens for different reasons, and certain things are going to exacerbate the pain, and certain things are going to help alleviate the pain. It is not a one-size-fits-all. When you see these experts talk about, like, oh, lean against the wall, and oh, come into Cobra, do that. This is horrendous, terrible advice. So you need to be evaluated. And until you can get professionally evaluated, you do nothing. Do not take matters into your own hands with regard to this injury. Don't dig into it and try to massage it out. Don't try to stretch it out. Don't try to get aggressive with it. Don't follow any of this nonsense you see on here, even if it's from the most credible source. The one advice that I can give you, okay, is you follow a feedback loop. If something causes pain, stop. Stop immediately. Oh, I saw that I should be doing nerve flosses on YouTube. Do not do it. Do not until you have a professional helping guide you on how to do it and when to do it, because it can make it worse. Oh, I saw that I'm supposed to come into Cobra. No, I saw that I'm supposed to put my back in traction. Don't do any of it. I saw a home traction unit online. I'm going to buy it. None of it. Zero. Nothing. You can destabilize the spine. You can cause further herniation. You can make it 1,000 times worse. Do not follow any treatment or advice that you find online. Don't do it. Ice. That's it. Even the medication. You can be prescribed. I was prescribed a dose of muscle relaxers that was not only counterintuitive and ineffective, it was triple the amount I should have been taking because I got it at the emergency room. And I woke up, couldn't see my phone. Nothing. You wait for a specialist. Until you see the specialist, you do nothing. Leave it alone and listen to your body. If you get more pain when you do it, stop doing it. Immediately stop. Until you can get some good advice on what to do. And the only thing, in fact, you can ice it, you can heat it. If you can manage to lay flat on your stomach, maybe you need to put something under your hips. Try to stand if you can take a few steps. If not, you go back down. You do not aggravate the pain. The next thing is that you need to seek an expert in this type of injury, a pro. And don't be afraid of an orthopedic surgeon. Everybody's afraid, oh, they're just going to tell you you need back surgery. No, they're not. They're not actually going to do that. They don't want to open up your back unless it's absolutely necessary. This isn't true. And I know that we get conditioned to believe all these doctors just want to make money. They just want to make money and they only make money when they do surgery. No, they don't want to do that. They're going to help you either get physical therapy or prescribe a course of action, or maybe some prednisone, which is an anti-inflammatory, a steroidal anti-inflammatory. They're going to help you do exactly what needs to be done. They're going to assess you. They're going to get the right tests on you. You might need an epidural shot, which actually was what I needed. I needed to get 3 epidurals in my spine, and then I was guided strategically over time by a guy named Dr. Stuart McGill. Now, this gentleman has a website called thebackmechanic.com. I'm not selling any of his stuff. He helped me. He did it for free. He's the foremost expert. Go. And if you feel like in the meantime you can't get help, you can't get to a doctor, because I went through that. You can't get an appointment. They can't see you. You don't have the right insurance. I went through all of that, and I'm me, and I couldn't get a doctor. When I say I'm me, I mean it in the most obnoxious sense of the word. I am one of the foremost fitness experts in the world, and I could not get a doctor to see me in Miami without having to go to the head of HSS in New York to make a call for me. If I go through that, I can't imagine what somebody who doesn't have those kinds of connections in this field is going through. So check out thebackmechanic.com, check out Dr. Stuart McGill, get the book if you can on Amazon. There's videos online. It's going to help you while you're waiting to get assessed and to get the proper care, to get into physical therapy and to get a diagnosis on exactly what's going on, okay? The next thing I want you to do is, while you're in that interim and you're feeling hysterical and you're feeling panicked and you can't move and you're in pain, because people will tell you like, oh my God, I didn't stand up for 3 months. It took me 6 months to walk normal. Oh, it flares up and it's terrifying. Oh, you're never gonna be the same. You're gonna hear all of this shit. I want you first to look for the success stories, because there are tons of them out there, tons. If somebody isn't successful in healing, you don't know what their journey is, you don't know what their lesson is, you don't know what they're doing to heal. You look for the success stories, because the success stories show you that it's absolutely possible to heal, get out of pain, and get better. It is, and even if what worked for that person doesn't work for you, the point is it's possible, it can be done. Just like weight loss. It's hard, it's intimidating, you may fail at it a bunch of times, but people do it. It is possible, it can be done. If you talk to 100 people that lost a large amount of weight, 95 of them would put it back on, but 5 of them haven't. It can be done. It can be done, and you can do it, okay? I want you to give this a meaning, because when you're going through something like this, something this scary and this painful and this hard, you've got to look for the meaning. Give it a meaning. I don't care what you have to do. And I was thinking to myself as I was going through this, I was like, with all the stress and all the things I've taken on that were overwhelming me and compromising my quality of life, and the things I was fighting about or fighting over, I felt as though literally they broke my back. And even though, yes, I fell and yes, these things happened, I could not help but believe like it was metaphorical to a certain extent. Like all of this that I'd been taking on and carrying on my shoulders that wasn't mine to carry broke my back, literally broke my spine. And I decided in this free fall, like I'm talking rock bottom, that I was going to change, that I was going to practice the Serenity Prayer, man. It's like, gave me the courage to change what I can change and the wisdom to know the difference, right? And the ability to accept what's out of my control, what I can't fix, to let things go, to not hold grudges, all of that. It changed me fundamentally. Oh, my dog feels struggling. He always barks right in the middle of these videos. Whatever it is that you think may be contributing to this emotionally, because at the end of the day, emotional stress, psychological stress, it changes your biochemistry. It does manifest physically. There are many, many studies to support this, whether it's an autoimmune condition or chronic pain. I find that stress attacks the places that we're weakest. So I think I got injured, and I think my stress exacerbated it to such an extraordinary degree that I sustained a massive, massive injury. In giving it that meaning, it dramatically changed my life for the better in ways I had been unable to change previously. You know, there were some old things that I was holding on to that I could not let go of. And even though I knew, like, oh, being angry at somebody is drinking poison and hoping the other person dies, I could not find my way around it until literally I realized the weight of those burdens broke me in half. And I let it go. I let all that old shit go. I want you to look for what you can control. So I couldn't stand, I couldn't work out, I couldn't do any of the things I loved, nothing. I literally, my fiance had to wait on me hand and foot for months, I couldn't make myself food. I had to crawl to the bathroom. Crawl. I was up all hours of the night. I couldn't sleep from the pain. And I started, you guys may have noticed, I started getting into Wim Hof. And for those of you who don't know, Wim Hof is a guy who, they call him the Iceman. He has cured himself from a variety of diseases, or he never actually had the disease. He was able to fend off dangerous bacterial infections. He climbed like the greatest mountaintops in his underwear practically. I mean, he's capable of these superhuman feats. So I read his book. I started doing his breathing exercises. I started taking cold showers. I started focusing on my supplementation. I started doing meditation. I started doing acupuncture because I could control it. And I was like, what can I control? I'm gonna like get crazy about cultivating the perfect microbiome, and I'm gonna do visualization on healing my spine, and I'm gonna do this and this and this, because being so out of control, having something I could control helped me. It helped me maintain my sanity when I was in a complete free fall. And then I am here to tell you that the final tip here is you will adapt. You'll adapt. And, I stand, I ride horses, I, launch jet skis off of 6-foot wakes, I ride motorcycles, I ran sprints the other day with my daughter for the first time in months. But I'm just a little more careful, just a little bit smarter, right? I don't allow for any biomechanical imbalances anymore, sloppy form. I don't allow it. I don't load my spine in ways that if my form can't be perfect, like I won't do it. I will not do it. I don't rotate with Russian twists anymore. I train in side planks. You adapt. You become a little smarter, a little wiser. You evolve, right? You gain depth. You gain a different kind of strength and a different kind of empathy. I'm a person, people would tell me about injuries, and, I'm like, oh, okay, we can work around it. Like, let's swim in the pool. I didn't understand. I understood the mechanics of it, of an injury. I understood that. Oh, you're in pain. Oh, man, that sucks. But I did not. When someone would say they're in pain and they take painkillers, I was like, what? Like, I didn't understand it until I did. And I also wonder if maybe I understand it now because it's going to change the way that I work. Maybe in the future, I will work with some of the best experts in the field to help people manage chronic pain, to help people prevent these kinds of injuries. But this is my parting advice. Do not do anything until you are professionally assessed and you have an expert telling you how to heal and guiding you on what procedures you should or shouldn't do, what exercises or stretches you should or shouldn't do. You take nothing offline, and you take nothing into your own hands. Nothing. You can make it so much worse and do so much more damage. Like I said, check out Stuart McGill's site, get the back mechanic. In the meantime, if you need to gain a sense of control or understanding, okay, you give it a meaning, you look for the lessons, you research the success stories, and you meditate on them. You read them every single night. You seek them out online. This story, people just like me, I'm perfectly fine. I'm out of pain. I function perfectly. I've adapted, and I'm just a little bit safer, a little more wise. Look for the things you can control. And that's the silver lining. Let it change you for the better. Grow something positive in the interim. Let go of the things that are literally breaking you in half. And there'll be more. I'll do more. I just need to take this journey myself and figure out the best ways that I'm going to be able to help you guys. And I'm not sure if it's going to be instructional videos with experts. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I will do my absolute best. And I'm committed to helping anybody who goes through something like this know that they'll be okay. They will live a normal life again and For now, just follow these steps because that's what got me through this far.